Good afternoon, everyone. So today, this is the second lecture of our international grouping series, and in this lecture, we are going to take the topics of like three topics are there. The first is Secretariat of the UN, Secretariat of the United Nations. Then we have International Court of Justice (ICJ). Then we have Trusteeship Council. In this short video, we are going to dealing with only three organs of the United Nations. I should say Secretariat of the United Nations, then we have International Court of Justice, then we have Trusteeship Council. Okay, so let us start our topic with the Secretariat of the United Nations. See, first of all, if I ask you what is the meaning of the Secretariat, so if we see, we have a parliament of India, और I should say we have executive. पार्लियामेंट में वी हैव एग्जीक्यूटिव. एग्जीक्यूटिव में क्या क्या आएगा? वी हैव प्राइम मिनिस्टर, वी हैव काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स, देन वी हैव कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स. ठीक है. कैन यू टेल मी the in a parliamentary setup we have executive, and executive is composed of the prime minister, the council of ministers and the cabinet ministers. ठीक है. Just tell me, these people only work in like cabinet meetings they have among themselves. Council of ministers meet with the prime minister, various cabinet committees meet among themselves, but the back end work, I should say the back end work में क्या क्या आएगा? बैक एंड वर्क में वी हैव द डॉक्यूमेंट प्रिपरेशन फॉर अ पॉलिसी प्रिपरेशन, देन वी हैव स्कीम आउटलाइनिंग. Suppose there is a new scheme going to be launched for the biogas, like we have a Govardhan scheme. So the secretariat will draft the every detail related to the scheme, like who will be the targeted beneficiaries, what will be the period of this scheme, like 2025 तक रहेगा, 26 तक रहेगा. So every kind of aspect is being dealt by the secretariat of the parliamentary system. So basically this back end work is dealt by the secretariat, and this secretariat is being headed by cabinet secretary. इसका हेड कौन करेगा? कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी इज देयर. The same setup is being followed in the states also. We have Uttar Pradesh government, say for example, then we have Uttar Pradesh Secretariat in Lucknow. If we see the Delhi government, then we have Delhi Secretariat. Similarly, in the district setup, we have Circuit House. So basically, this is the secretariat that is responsible for the back end work of that region, I should say, of that country, of that state or the district. So same principle is being followed in the United Nations setup. So UNGA is like the parliament. So to cover that back end work, we have the secretariat. To cover that back end work, we have secretariat of the United Nations. जैसे यहाँ पे we have cabinet secretary heading the cabinet secretariat. We have chief secretary heading the state secretariat. So in a similar manner, the UN secretariat will be headed by United Nations Secretary General. United Nations Secretary General will be heading the United Nations Secretariat, or I should say back end work. So, जैसे कि हमारे पास secretariat में we have civil servants. Cabinet Secretary is also an IAS officer, which is the highest post an IAS officer can attain during his tenure. Similarly, in the United Nations Secretariat, we have international civil servants, who are like, there are too many Indian government officers which are being deputed to the United Nations. So we have international civil servants worldwide. We have clearly written this. So this is basically the example of secretariat. From the prelims perspective, not much can be asked, but you need to remember what is the function of the secretariat, what is the role of the United Nations Secretary General when it comes to the secretariat. Okay, so reading about the brief points, we have you undertakes day to day work of the United Nations. Just we have written back end work is there. साल भर वर्क चलेगा भाई. सेशन तो वी हैव ओनली फॉर 3.5 months, बट जो यूएन का वर्किंग है वो तो पूरे ईयर चलेगा ना. एंड दैट वर्क इज बीइंग मैनेज्ड बाय द यूएन सेक्रेटेरिएट अंडर द लीडरशिप ऑफ यूनाइटेड नेशन सेक्रेटरी जनरल एंड विद द हेल्प ऑफ इंटरनेशनल सिविल सर्वेंट्स वर्ल्ड वाइड. ओके, सो UN administrating the programs and policies of the organization. With this we have already discussed. It is headed by Secretary General. We have written here, assisted by a staff of international civil servants worldwide. Okay, headquarter इसका कहाँ पे है? न्यूयॉर्क में. So you need to have only these kind of details कि headed by Secretary General, work क्या है और headquarters का कहाँ पे है. So let's move on to the next topic. We have International Court of Justice. This is important. This is important from prelims perspective. From prelims perspective. See, in prelims the questions can be made from the composition of ICJ. Like how many judges are there? What is the term of each judge? How the elections take place. They can also ask a question regarding the difference between International Criminal Court. ICC is there. Rome Statute से बना ICC International Criminal Court. Then we have Permanent Court of Arbitration PCA. Permanent Court of Arbitration is there. Then we have ICJ, which is an organ of the United Nations. So UPSC can make a question regarding the differentiation between the International Criminal Court. They can ask about the Permanent Court of Arbitration, or they can ask about the International Court of Justice. See, remember, only ICJ is a organ of the United Nations. Rest are not concerned with the United Nations, although they work in harmony with the United Nations, but they are not related to the United Nations. All right, only ICJ is related. So UPSC can make a question on this aspect also. In this topic, we are studying ICJ, but later we will discuss ICC and PCA also. Okay. So we have International Court of Justice, which is one of the organs of the United Nations. In the previous lecture, we have studied there were 6 organs of the United Nations. Just remember them, which are the 6 organs of the United Nations. Okay. So this is basically a principal judicial organ of the United Nations. It is also called as World Court. World level pe the court that is working, that is known by the name of International Court of Justice. It is seated at the Peace Palace, Hague, Netherlands. See, this is there is an irony. It is the only principal organ of United Nations, that is not in New York. Of United Nations that is not in New York. ठीक है? ये कहाँ पे है हमारा? नीदरलैंड्स में, ये न्यूयॉर्क में नहीं है. So UPSC can make a statement like all the principal organs of the United Nations are located in the New York. So this statement would be wrong or right, because we have seen only the International Court of Justice is not in New York, it is in Hague, Netherlands. Rest other organs like we have Trusteeship Council, we have Economic and Social Council, we have United Nations Security Council, we have UN General Assembly, all of them are in New York, barring the presence of United Nations International Court of Justice, which is in Netherlands. समझ आया? Okay. Let's move on to the next point. Only principal organ of the UN that is not located in the New York. We have already discussed this. Okay. Let's move on to the next point. We have functions of ICJ. What does ICJ do? It is basically the mandate of the ICJ. Mandate matlab the principle or the purpose for which an organization has been made. If I ask what is the mandate of UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, so you will see here, sir, it is basically being made to serve as a body to conserve the environment. So basically it is the mandate of the UNEP. There was a question this year in mains 2023, like what is the mandate of the IMO? They asked International Maritime Organization. So UPSC can ask the mandate of any body, and you need to remember the mandate of important bodies, like there are more than 100 or 200 bodies, and this is not humanly possible to remember the mandate of everybody. Just see about the important bodies or those which are going to discuss in these lectures. Okay. So next point is settles legal disputes between states and gives advisory opinion to the UN and its specialized agencies. In the next point, we will see there are 2 types of judgments. There are 2 types of judgments given by the ICJ. One is contentious and the second is advisory. See, contentious is binding and advisory is not binding. The person or the body is free whether to implement this judgment or not, that is upon the will of the parties concerned. Alright. So the second point is here cases related to war crimes, illegal state interference, ethnic cleansing, and other issues. So these issues are being dealt by the ICJ, that is International Court of Justice. War crime is there. Somalia has been suffering from this. Many African countries are being facing ethnic cleansing. So these are basically the issues that are under the mandate of the ICJ, International Court of Justice. All right. So if we talk about the composition of judges, see, there are a total of 15 judges in the ICJ. Okay? 15 judges are there, and every 3 years, 5 judges are elected. 5 judges are elected. इतना clear है? We have total number of 15 judges और every हर 3 साल बाद election होगा for the election of 5 judges. इतना clear है? So every 3 years 5 judges are getting replaced. In 2017, remember, we have our judge, Indian judge, who was on ICJ, known by the name of Dalbir Bhandari. काफी फेमस इलेक्शन था ये 2017 में, because UK could not get the support, so Indian judge Dalbir Bhandari was placed on the panel of International Court of Justice. All right. So we have a composition of total 15 judges are there, and see, out of the 15 judges, the composition geographic है. मतलब हमारा मतलब क्या होगा, geographically they are distributed. कि 3 judges would be there from Africa, 2 from Latin America and Caribbean countries, 3 judges would be from Asia, 5 from Western Europe and other states, बचे हुए states जो हैं Western Europe के, and 2 from the Eastern Europe. Is it clear? Okay, next let's move on to the next point. We have methodology of working. This is important. You need to remember these points. Methodology of working. First, judges may deliver joint judgments or give their own separate opinions. Every judge is free to be a part of the collective judgment, or they can give their own judgment too. Like there are 15 judges, and the issue, say the discussion is going on the Palestine issue. So every judge is free to talk about his opinion on the Palestine issue, or they can collectively put the opinion of the International Court of Justice on the media. All right. So the second point is, the court settles legal disputes between nations only. It will not talk about the persons, parties, political bodies, private bodies, government bodies. It will talk about the nations only, or it can settle dispute between the nation only. Like it can settle a dispute, say for example Mexico and Cambodia, or any country like South Africa and Congo. It cannot resolve a dispute between the government of the South Africa or any other country, or a private corporation being established in South Africa or being established in Congo. All right. So this is the point, and not between individuals, organizations and private enterprises. We just discussed this in accordance with the international law. तो किसके बीच में dispute settlement होगा? Only the nations, और कोई concern नहीं है हमारे ICJ का. Third point we have, the court can hear a dispute when requested to do so by one or more states. It cannot deal with the dispute on its own. Like suo motu cognizance, it cannot take. We have heard ना suo motu cognizance. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Say for example, I am taking an example of the Supreme Court. Say for example, there is sand mining, rampant sand mining on the Andhra coast, and the Supreme Court, after seeing the media reports कि यार this level of sand mining has been happening on this coast, it takes like cognizance of this matter on its own and place a case concerned to this sand mining in the Supreme Court. So this is known as suo motu cognizance, or I should say Supreme Court has taken the cognizance of this matter on its own according to the media reports. This is known as suo motu cognizance. So ICJ cannot do this. ICJ do not have the liberty to go into the case on its own. It can only do so when the nation states request ICJ to do so. Suppose there is a fight, say A and B countries are fighting with each other over some issue. Say for example North Korea and South Korea are fighting. So ICJ cannot go to North Korea or South Korea to settle the dispute. It is the prerogative of either South Korea either North Korea to go to ICJ and get the ICJ involved in their matter. Is it clear? All right. So the court can only hear a dispute when requested to do so. We have just discussed this point. Next point is judgment जो होगा final होगा, binding होगा और इसके आगे कोई अपील नहीं होगी. अपील का मतलब क्या हुआ? Suppose there is a case in district court. Against the judgment of the district court, we can go to the high court. Against the judgment of the high court, we can go to the Supreme Court. All right. So this is known as the methodology of appeal. After the judgment of ICJ, there is no appeal and the judgment is binding. Is it clear? Okay. So the next point is, this one is important. Through the rulings of the ICJ are binding. We have already discussed these are binding. Some countries ignored them as ICJ has no direct means of enforcing its orders. Is it clear? Because ICJ के पास अपनी ना तो कोई फोर्स है ना कोई मेथोडोलॉजी है कि वो चेक कर सके कि whether its orders are being implemented or not. Maximum what can happen? See, ICJ can coordinate with the UN General Assembly, or UN General Assembly can discuss the behavior of a particular country, that this country has not followed the ruling of the ICJ. This is the maximum amount of thing that can happen after a country violates the judgment given by the ICJ, International Court of Justice. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next point. We have types of ICJ jurisdictions. We have already discussed a brief about this. We have a contentious jurisdiction and we have advisory. See, contentious jurisdiction is between fighting nations. Fighting nations. I have taken an example of the countries South Korea and North Korea. They are having some kind of dispute with each other. So this jurisdiction will be under contentious and that will be between fighting nations. So this will be binding. This will be binding on North Korea and South Korea. But as we have already studied, the judgments are binding, but there is no procedure for ICJ to check whether these judgments have been implemented or not. All right. Then we have advisory jurisdiction given by ICJ to UN, its bodies, its organs and specialized agencies. Is it clear? So this is basically a advisory jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice given by ICJ to the like UN bodies, organ, specialized agencies. It is similar to the advice tendered by the Supreme Court to the President of India. On some matters, it is the like privilege of President whether to accept these judgment by the Supreme Court or not. Is it clear? So the same thing happens with the International Court of Justice. Some of them are binding in nature and some of them are advisory in nature, or I should say non-binding. Clear hai? So UPSC can make a statement like all of the judgments given by the ICJ are binding on the parties. So the answer for this statement would be false, because not all the judgments given by the ICJ are binding in nature, because we have seen only the contentious judgments are binding and advisory judgments are non-binding and advisory in nature. Okay. So let's move on to the next point. We have trusteeship council. So ICJ was clearly discussed. Now we have a third body known by the name of trusteeship council. Okay, this one is not that important because it's non-functional now. It's not working like the ICJ and other bodies are working. So this is non-functional. It was in 1994 that the suspension of this work was taken place. So we will talk a brief about the trusteeship council. It was formed to provide the international supervision to 11 trust territories. See, trust territories were those, suppose it is a smaller country, or I should say smaller territory, which was placed under the supervision of a bigger country, like France, UK and USA. So these were known as the trust territories. So trusteeship council was made to look out for these 11 trust territories that had been placed under the administration of member states. We have already read this. And to prepare the territories for self-government and independence. See, it will take some time for these trust territories to have some kind of a democratic freedom, to have some kind of voting procedure, and after the development of these democratic principles, the trust countries would be set free. They will not in any manner being influenced by the host country. So this was basically the mandate of the trusteeship council. Is it clear? Okay, so if we go to the next point, it is written that by 1994 all trust territories had attained self government. This we have already discussed. 1994 was that year when we thought the democratic development has taken place in these 11 trust territories, okay, or independence, with the last nation being Palau. Palau was the last trust territory out of 11 territories. Clear hai itna? So UN suspended its operation on 1994 and it continues to exist only on paper. Siraf, we know like there are 6 organs, and the 6th one is trusteeship council, but it is defunct now. It is not working. It is only on the papers. Like we have 6 principal organs, but the actual working organs are only 5. Trusteeship council only exists on the paper. So UPSC can make a question on this statement like all of the organs of the United Nations are working continually and permanently. So this statement would be clearly wrong because trusteeship council is no longer in existence anymore. No longer in existence. Clear hai itna? So in this lecture we have studied 3 bodies. First was the Secretariat, second was the International Court of Justice, and the third is Trusteeship Council. So we will be meeting in lecture 3 where we will be taking the specialized agency of the United Nations. So thank you for being in this lecture. Do like and subscribe the Tathastu ICS channel. Thank you.